In this video I'll present to you what I have so far. The rooms are quite simplistic and the gameplay isn't what you're used to. You can't move and your only way to move is by getting hit by a ball.
How are you coming first?
But besides the blue ball, we have the red ball, which deals damage to enemies. On the left side there are the objects, which are in the scene. In our example is the sample scene. These objects can have something called hierarchy, which represents, I think, the parenting. Parenting, from what I've seen, represents the ability for an object to imitate the transformation, rotation or scale of an object. In this case, its parent. When building the rotation script, even though I needed some help, after analyzing I've seen how useful can be parenting when rotating the player. All we need to use is Unity Engine and to make sure that our class name has the same name as our script. I've declared some variables, some are public, which means they can be changed in the inspector. My variables are mouse sensitivity, which controls the sensitivity of the mouse, the X rotation, which will help our camera in looking up and down, and player body, where we'll store and change the transformation of our player. When rotating the body, we clearly see that the rotation around the X-axis, the horizontal axis, shouldn't happen. But to our advantage, the camera is a child of the player body, which means that it rotates with it. When rotating along the Y-axis, the vertical axis, the player body rotates the camera as well, giving us a good rotation. And rotating the camera in the X-axis doesn't affect the player body, which is exactly what we want. In the start method, which is called when the object is spawned, we set the cursor to center. In the update method, being called every frame, we call a function called rot, which doesn't return anything, being of type void. This function gets the mouse input our user has, taking in account the frame rate in order to smooth things out, multiplying each of them by time.delta time and mouse sensitivity. Our variable X rotation will have a new value, based on its current value, from which we subtract mouse Y. Rather than adding, we subtract because when we're looking up, our X rotation is negative and positive when looking down. Then we clamp our X rotation value such that we don't end up doing backflips. This thing will be clamped between minus 90 degrees and 90 degrees. Then we'll be rotating our camera around the X-axis, up and down, using a quaternion function, which takes some Euler angles and converts them to quaternion. After that, in order to look horizontally, we will rotate the player around the Y-axis, using our mouse X input, because in a 2D space our X-axis would be horizontal.